For today's napkin project, we're going to need to cut 2 fabric squares. Now my fabric square is 14 by 14. I wanted my napkin to be a little bit on the smaller side. It's for a tea party and a small table, but you can certainly play with this and make this any measurement you'd like. 17 by 17, 16 by 16, maybe cut it 17 by 17, and if you think it's too big, cut it down a little bit. I also chose 2 different fabrics because I want my napkin to be reversible. This is also your preference. If you want yours to be reversible and have 2 opposite sides, cut 2 fabric squares exactly the same size. If you'd like it to be the same, then use the same fabric and cut 2 exactly the same size. Cut your fabric squares and we'll move on to the next step. So what we're going to do at this point is we're just going to put our 2 fabrics, pretty sides, facing each other, or right sides facing right sides together. And what we need to do is we need to sew all the way around on all sides, leaving about a 4 to 5 inch opening so that we can reach our hand in and we can turn this right side out. What I like to do is I like to just put 2 pins to remind myself that that is where I want to stop. I'm going to start at this pin. I'm going to pin all the way around. Probably don't need a lot of pins. It's just kind of a simple project here, so maybe just a couple pins on each side. So you're going to pin all the way around, leaving this open. You're going to take it to your sewing machine. You're going to sew all the way around. Stop here. Backstitch, a couple backstitch. Remove it from your sewing machine, and I'll meet you back here. One more thing I just wanted to tell you before I take this to my sewing machine. I have my pins. I have my 2 pins here. This is my starting point. I have just a couple pins on each side, getting ready to take it to the sewing machine, but remember that I forgot to tell you that I am using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can certainly adjust that to your preference, but 1/4 inch seems to be good for me. It makes it nice and not very bulky there. So we're just going to sew along each edge, taking those pins out as you come across them, leaving that open, and I'll meet you back here. I just wanted to take a minute at the machine and kind of show you what I'm doing. I am using a 1/4 inch guide, which is really nice because I could just, I just use this guide and I just go straight down this edge. I'm taking the pins out as I go along. I'm going to take you down to the corner and show you how we turn the corner. So when I'm about a 1/4 inch away, I'm going to leave that needle in the down position, lift that presser foot, pivot, put down my presser foot, and continue on my merry little way. Alright, so I'm back from the sewing machine. I've sewn everything in a nice thread color that you can't even see. I have an opening right here that I'm going to be able to stick my hand through. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to cut the corners, and we're just going to cut them to get rid of that bulk. Do not cut into your thread line, so you're just going to cut a little bit of that corner off. Being careful not to hit that thread line. This will give you a nice, somewhat sharp corner over there. Now, where is my opening? My opening is right here. So you're just going to turn your hand in, and you're going to pull this out. And then I have this little corner turner that I like to use just to really get those corners. You just want to be gentle. You don't want to poke all the way through. So you're just going to be really gentle and poke that like that on each of your corners. Once you've done that to all your corners, you're going to take this to your ironing board and you're going to just iron this so that it's the same line as our stitch line. And then I would press everything else so it's nice and flat. But you just basically, it kind of naturally goes down. So you're just going to iron that so that it lays nice and flat. And then we're going to go back to the sewing machine and we're going to top stitch all the way around. Feel free to use a decorative stitch, whatever, but we're going to get as close to the edge as possible so that we seal up that opening, and then it gives us a nice little top stitch around as well. I just kind of wanted to show you, the corners can be a little bit tricky, especially if you're just sewing right on the edge. I am using a tool called the purple thing just to kind of help guide it as I get to that corner, and I'll just kind of show you how that works. Just coming to the end here, I'm going to overlap my beginning stitches and we'll be done. Alright, so I finished my top stitch, I closed my opening. I just wanted to show you, hey, mine's not exactly perfect. No one's going to notice. And I top stitched all the way around. I went and took it to the ironing board to give it one last press to get those seams nice and set. And now we have this cute little reversible napkin that'll just look great with our little placemats. So we're done with that.